Hello friends, today we are going to explain Mac Flecknoe, a poem wrote by John Dryden. I guess you all know John Dryden, especially if you are studying English literature. If you do not know him, then I recommend to search about him because I'm not going to talk about him since there is a lot of sources on YouTube and other social media platforms. You can get as much information as you want about him, and I won't be also talking about the period of the poem. Well, we are going to be reflecting some ideas of the period while explaining the poem, but we are not going to cover all the period. So I also recommend you to search for the Restoration period. The Restoration period in which King Charles II was restored. He restored the throne, the English throne, after he was in France. So I recommend you to know about all this information before you start reading the poem. And today our focus is going to be mainly on the poem itself, on the text, so we can analyze it, we can read it line by line if possible, and try to break it down to simplify it for students. So let's start. Before I start, I would say that John Dryden was famous for being a poet laureate, which means a poet who is authorized, who is given credibility and validity by the authority, that's by the king. So if he is a poet that is given validity by the king, this gives him the ability to criticize other poets, to be like a significant figure of this time. And he was also very known for satire. He criticizes the bad poets, and especially Thomas Shadwell in this poem, who is going to represent bad poets. He criticizes them by considering that bad poetry, and we are going to see also this concept of bad poetry at that time. So let's start just reading the poem. Mac Flecknoe, or a satire upon the true blue Protestant poet, D.S. So this Mac Flecknoe, Mac means son, Flecknoe, it means son of Flecknoe. So here the criticism is going to be on the son of Flecknoe and on his father also, Flecknoe. So it is also a satire to this blue Protestant, which means very Protestant, because Mac Flecknoe was a Protestant. Well, by the way, John Dryden also was a Protestant, and he was accused of being a turncoat because he was Protestant, then he became Catholic after King Charles was restored. So, but some say that don't be harsh on him, because he is not the only one who changed all the English nation, or nation almost change it with him. Anyway, I won't be talking about details because there's a lot of details about it. So it starts like that. All human things are subject to decay, and when fate summones, monarchs must obey. So in the very beginning, look, this is called mock epic poem, which is a very important, let's say, term used in this time, in the Restoration, in the age of reason. So we are talking about this mock epic poem, which has almost all the qualities of the epic work, like vast setting, like high diction and good characters, powerful even characters, but the subject is silly. It is insignificant subject. So it starts like an epic. Look, all human things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarchs must obey. So the poet is trying, that John Dryden is starting like he is praising death, he is talking about death, and we know that there is someone about to die. So here we talk about death, yes, but fate is so powerful, and it even monarchs must obey when fate calls them. So this Flecknoe found, who like Augustus young was called to empire and had governed long. So Flecknoe knows that it is a fixed fate. He is going to die. So because this Flecknoe, and he is comparing him to Augustus. Augustus, he was the emperor of Rome. So he was called to empire, Augustus, and had governed long. So Flecknoe is like him, and Flecknoe now knows that fate is going to summon him, to call him. So in prose and verse was owned without dispute through all the realms of nonsense absolute. But look at the way mock epic style is represented. It is, look, Mac Flecknoe is so great. He is so big. He is going to he is the emperor of a very big country, or a very big matter. But this matter is nonsense and silliness and dullness. So look, as Augustus is very big and strong and great, but was great in a positive sense. Flecknoe here is great, but in a negative sense. So this, as professors say, especially my professor Stachilhoja, she said that comparing the insignificant of man to giants, okay, or the dwarfish of man to giants. Why are we comparing this small, insignificant man, that's Flecknoe, to Augustus, in order to show how bad he is by comparing him to big and important characters. So let's continue. So this Flecknoe I won't be reading all the poem, of course. He is concerning about his fate, and he is looking for an heir of him, that's the successor, or a son who is one of his sons who is going to rule the country after he dies. So here we say to settle the succession of the state. So he is one that, worn out with business, did at length debate to settle the succession of the state. So this Flecknoe is very obsessed with ideas and thinking. He wants to settle the succession. He wants to find one of his sons to continue ruling after him, and he is pondering which of his sons was fit to reign and wage immortal war with wit. So he is looking at the silliest, the dullest, the most dull and idiotic of his sons. So he cried, then this Flecknoe cried, he said, "It's solved." How? It's solved, for nature pleads that should only rule who must resembles me. Alone my perfect image bears, mature in dullness from his tender years. So he suggests that the Shadwell, Thomas Shadwell, well, look, this it is a pun. It can be like Shet, it can be like Thomas Shadwell, it can be also maybe Shepherd, I don't think so, but it can be also a pun, but he is not exactly saying Shadwell, but he means Thomas Shadwell. So Flecknoe said that the best one who can bear my image, that is who is idiot like me of my sons, is Shadwell. So he is okay now. He found the most suitable son who resembles him in dullness to rule the country after him, because he matured in dullness. Since he was young, he was idiot and dull. Shadwell alone of all my sons is he who stands confirmed in full stupidity. See, he is so stupid. Well, In this line, we see how he is introducing, as I said, Flecknoe, who is thinking about his son who is going to reign after him, and he solved the issue of looking for a son by finding the most idiot and dull of his sons, that is Mac Flecknoe. Sorry, that is Mac Flecknoe. That means son of Flecknoe, who is Shadwell here. So here, look, he is describing Shadwell in a very negative way. He says, but Shadwell never deviates into sense. Well, how do we deviate into sense? Because he is all the time um, idiot and dull. So when he is, imagine him like a drunk person, and he starts deviating. So when he deviates, he might capture sense and mind, right? Because he is all the time idiot, but so he doesn't have this straight way. He deviates into the sense. So that's very oxymoronic and biting criticism. By the way, this poem is juvenile and satire because we have this biting and harsh satire on Mac Flecknoe. So, yes. Also, in these lines, he is criticizing his body. He is so fat, but his fatness is nothing like a big tree. He is saying here, like a monarch's axe tree, and this tree has it is branched, and these branches are down to the ground. They are not up to the sky, unlike normal trees. So it means that he is so idiotic and he doesn't have even plans for the future or something good in his nature. It's a very, as I said, harsh criticism. Here also we see that I will be skipping and going faster because it's so long. It's like 7 pages. So in these lines we are witnessing that John Dryden is mentioning some bad and minor poets, that insignificant poets of the time, who are related with Mac Flecknoe, that Thomas Shadwell he is talking about. Hewwood and Shirley were but types of thee, thou last great prophet of tautology. Well, tautology means in necessary repetition. That's repetition, but for nothing, for not, it's meaningless repetition. Okay. And by the way, it's also, we can say that he is making Thomas Shadwell uh, like insignificant and not unique, even if in his dullness. So he is not the only one who is dull, but he is the most dull in this country, maybe in this realm. Yep. I will be skipping here. Here we have John Dryden is comparing him to Arian. You know Arian, he is a mythological figure which has a very good song and music, and when he was about to be trapped or something like that, you can check the mythological story. He was singing and the dolphins came from the sea and they helped him. He just ride on their back and they took him, so he was saved. But when we compare here the sailing of Mac Flecknoe, that is the sailing of him when he was sailing, I think, in to be crowned. Okay, this sailing is not, he is not like Aryan. Okay, he said, methinks I say neo Aryan sail, like he is like the neo Ariel, but he is not like Ariel. Why? Look, he is saying that the lute still trembling underneath thy nail, at thy well-sharpened thumb, from shore to shore, the treble squeaks for fear the basses roar. So look, roaring is not that pleasant sound or music. Okay, it's disturbing. It is disturbing and irritating music. It's echoes from Pissing Alley, Shadwell Call. So Pissing Alley is also a very bad place. It's not that good place. So look at the setting. He is comparing him to Arian, but not in a positive way. Arian was a good figure, powerful. He could help himself. He was cunning, smart. He has this good lute that is very nice sound and voice, so he could help with himself. But Mac Flecknoe, that's Thomas Shadwell, has a very roaring, irritating and bad voice, so he is nothing like Eliot. So you see these examples of comparing a bad person, the insignificant man, to a giant, to a very important figure. Why? For when we contrast him with that figure, we can say his faults, his mistakes, his faults will be more obvious to us, right? It's like when you are putting a very insignificant, small and weak man in front of a very masculine man who has muscles, so you can see how small the other one is. So I'm mentioning that for simplifying the example, but not for other aims. So, and look, he is also saying that about thy boat the little fish throng. So look, we don't have dolphins here, we have fishes and little fishes, as the morning toast that floats along. And even these fishes are not following Thomas Shadwell's boat. Well, it is a boat, also not a ship. It is expected to be a big ship, but it is not a ship, it is a boat that is so small, and the fishes are not following that boat. The fish are following the toast, which means the sewage, the bad waters, in order to eat from this leftovers, this sewage and this sewage and bad things. So look, that is so humiliating, right? He is humiliating him by this biting satire. Well, what else we can say? Yes, we mentioned that. We mentioned that how he is. So look, all that is about criticizing Thomas Shadwell as a bad writer, and this concept of Grub Street that was famous at the time. Many people who are not supposed to publish poems and works, they used to publish, and their works was so bad and not worthy even of reading. So look how he is saying here, all arguments, but almost his plays persuade that for anointed dullness he was made. So he's saying simply that if you want to know how idiot, how meaningless his work and meaningless his mind is, just look at his plays, just look at the things he is writing, and you will see how a bad writer he is. So it's like, look guys, I don't want to mention him, it's obvious, just go to his books, consider them, look at them, and you can judge yourself and see how bad Thomas Shadwell is, as a writer. So in this page we see also close to the walls which fair Augusta bind, the fair Augusta which much to fears inclined. So what that mean? Flecknoe is Dryden is mentioning or hinting on this concept of the Popish Act, which took place in England. The meaning of the Popish Act, it is like demanding the government, that's demanding the king to prohibit the throne for the Catholics, that no Catholic should be no Catholic should be a ruler or a king. But that was a very dangerous act, because there is no important man who can reign, and in the time of the interregnum, that when there was no king, there was a civil war in England, so they needed this order and this harmony. So they needed their king, and the Popish Act is about, well, the most important thing that is the king is not going to be Catholic, but actually the most important thing for the English people is um, a king must establish order. So here we have this criticism of the Popish Act by John Dryden, who was a Tory, that which means supporting the King Charles II, and also, by the way, he witnessed King Charles I, that's Charles II's father, when he was executed. So what do we have here is mentioning that the hinting on the Popish Act, uh, and again here we are going to see the place in which Thomas Shadwell, since we said that Flecknoe chose that his son Thomas Shadwell is going to be his successor. So we will see this coronation. In the page before this, we see how he is coming by a boat, but now and how bad the boat was. But now we are seeing the place in which a coronation of Thomas Shadwell is going to took place. Look, the coronation is here. A watchtower, once but now, so fate ordains, of all the pile and empty name remains. From its old ruins, brothel houses rise, scenes of lewd loves and of polluted joys, where their vast courts the mother strumpets keep, and undisturbed by watch, in silence sleep. So look, the coronation of this bad king, that's the king of dullness, Thomas Shadwell, is going to take place in this watchtower, which is an old watchtower, and it is ruined now, and the place is used for bad things. It's like used for prostitution. It's a place in which brothel houses, that which means prostitutes, are doing their things like in this place, and this place is not suitable for coronation. But how that is how this mock epic style explains things. Look, we have coronation of a king, but the coronation is taking place in a very insignificant and bad place. And if we continue here, we can find that that John Dryden is saying that, look, great Fletcher never treads in buskins here, no greater Johnson dares in success appear. So great and good writers like Fletcher and like Ben Jonson, they do not come to this place. So Thomas Shadwell is a very bad writer, because the place he is being coronated in is very insignificant and bad place, and this good writers and important writers like Fletcher, who writes Buskins means tragedies, and great also Johnson, that's Ben Jonson, who writes Sucks means comedies back then. They do not come to this place. See, but gentle Simkin just reception finds amidst the monument of vanished minds. Okay, we see he is continuing this criticism on Thomas Shadwell. I will be skipping this place. He is criticizing that coronation, the place of the coronation. So if I summarize what we have said, we started with an old king who was about to die. Then this old king is searching for a son, a successor, and the successor is Thomas Shadwell. Thomas Shadwell is dull like his father, and here we say how he is sailing towards coronation. We saw the place, that's the bad watchtower, this brothel house, this prostitution place, that the coronation took place in, and we will continue to see how John Dryden is continuing criticizing Thomas Shadwell as the representative of bad writers. So, in this lines, roused by report of fame, the nations meet from near Bunhill and distant Walting Street. So look how biting this criticism is. He is saying that the place of the coronation, the road of the coronation, is from near Bunhill to distant Walting Street. But if we look at the places, these places in England, we can see that they are so close to each other. So it is not vast, so it is not epic actually, but it is explained in an epic way, in a very high diction. But it is not epic because it is so small. Look at the setting. Look at the setting of the coronation. It's so close and near places. You can check them on Google if you want. This Bunhill and this Walting Street in London. And moreover, we can see that the coronation is very humble and idiotic. Like, look, no Persian carpets spread the imperial way, but scattered limbs of mangled poets lay. Look, in coronation, and even today, when these presidents and these kings they walk towards coronation, we see that normally red carpet, and they walking on it, and these soldiers on left and right sides. But here we do not say a carpet. What we say is some left papers, some old unused books or paper, something like that, from dusty shops. Neglected authors come, martyrs of pious and relics of the bum. So what does that mean? Look, instead of these Persian carpets, Persia is so famous for its carpets, for its clothes and this good kinds of clothes. But here we do not say that Persian carpets in the road of the coronation, but what we see is these dusty shops, papers, dusty street full of martyrs of pious. What is the martyrs of pious? I think he means here this, the muffin, and it has this paper or something like a tissue around it. That's what does he mean. And relics of bum. Relics of bum, it means also some grub street maybe, or no, it means, okay, wait, authors. So neglected authors, which means these books who are not buyed and not important for the nation are filling the street, are in everywhere in the world, in England, and especially in this place of coronation. And relics of the bum. Look, relics of the bum means toilet papers, which is very humiliating and biting words. So the street is full of relics of the bum, which means toilet papers, which people use to clean themselves after going to toilet. So that's, as I said, very, very striking. So see how the coronation is represented. We continue here by saying much hued, shyly, ugly by, I think it's read like that, I don't know, there lay but loads of Shadwell almost choked the way. So this place of the coronation is full with these papers of neglected works, of not unread books, of bad writers like Flecknoe, Shirley, Hewwood, but most of them belong to Shadwell. See, he is saying, but loads of Shadwell almost choked the way, which means that the road is full of these works that belong to Shadwell, but it is useless works, and by works I mean books. So let me just jump some lines. Uh, Here he is saying his brows thick fog, so he is foggy, his mind is not clear, he does not have this clear vision, so he is not smart. And for being not smart, he is not suitable to be a poet at that time. That's the time of reason. Okay. He is the one who claimed never to have peace with wit, nor truce with sense. So if he does not have this, let's see, ceasefire, this truce with sense, which means that he is idiot. He is not going to be sensible. Okay. Yep. Uh, if we talk more about him, we can continue. I think that is important. You can read it yourself. Um, See here, the admiring thrugs loud acclamations make, and omens of his future empire take the sire that shook the honors of his head, and all these things, all criticism, full of the filial dullness. Long he stood, that's Thomas Shadwell. Now we see here that Flecknoe is let's say, about to put the crown on his son. He is praying for him. He is saying that, heavens, bless my son. From England let him reign to far Barbados on the western main. Let me read it again. It is very significant and biting and nice lines. Heavens bless my son. From England let him reign to far Barbados on the western main. So if you look at this setting, you can find that, well, it is quite big. Yeah, it's vast, but it is not full. It's empty. If you look in the map, from England to Barbados, you can see just an ocean. That's the sea, water. It is almost empty. So this realm, this kingdom that Mac Flecknoe is going to reign, or this place that Flecknoe is praying for his son to be king of, is an empty kingdom. It is empty. It is just water. So, yeah, again we have this criticism. If we consider the epic work, as this is a mock epic work, if you look at the epic work, so what is the difference here? The difference, yet it is big, but it is empty. If we remember Odysseus and these big settings, he has these difficulties, but at least he learns something. But Flecknoe is all the time dull, and even if he has these experiences, he doesn't gain anything by them, or he doesn't learn anything from them. And see, it continues like that. He paused, and all the people cried, "Amen." So they are saying amen to to reign an empty place. And again he paused. Yeah. Then thus continued he, that is my son. He said, my son advances still in new impotence, new ignorance, impotence. Success let others teach. Success let others teach. So you are not a teacher of success. You are a loser. Okay, loser. Learn thou from me. You can learn from me. That is from Mac Flecknoe, his father. Pangs without birth and fruitless industry. Well, look, that is a very significant line if you are talking about this process of writing poetry. for the restoration poets. The restoration poets, they are kind of a craftsman. They craft their poems, and this Mac Flecknoe, he is not having that pangs. He is not restricting his mind. He is not being a craftsman, a maker that that restricts himself, that thinks and balances, reasons his work to come up with a song that's a poem. Okay, giving birth to a poem. So, and it's fruitless. So look, even if you have these pangs and this pain, you are not going to come up with anything. So just leave it. It's not yours. It is not your job. Even if you try so much to write a good poem, you will not be successful in it. So just leave this issue and do not try to waste your time. So let virtuosos in 5 years be read, yet not one thought accuse thy toil of wit. So you look, Virtuosos, it's a work written by, I think it's a comedy written by Thomas Shadwell. And Thomas Shadwell is a very bad writer, and his work is so insignificant. And he said that you toiled so much and you just had these pangs and this pain to write this work, but this work is meaningless. So your pangs is not going to give birth. So just abandon writing poetry. He said, let gentle George in triumph tread the stage, make Dorimant betray and love it rage. So he is continuing by criticizing him. Yes, I see we can continue here. He is also advising him here in this line by saying that, which line? Yeah, this one. 165. He says, trust nature, do not labor to be dull. Just trust your nature. Just know what kind of a person you are, and do not strive to be dull, because you are striving to do something good, but you are just being dull. Continuing, I think this poem is all about this concept of criticizing bad writers, criticizing this by using this character that Thomas Shadwell. It also has some political meanings, deep meanings, like the Popish Act. We told about it when he was talking about the fear of Augusta. Yes, and also he is saying here by irritating Johnson's hostile name. So look, Thomas Shadwell, he claimed to be the successor or some writer who resembles Ben Jonson, but Ben Jonson is not like him. Ben Jonson writes comedy, but he was a man who has sense. And here you see John Dryden is accusing Thomas Shadwell of being a plagiarizer. Okay, that's plagiarizing. Sorry, plagiarizing works of other writers. Yep, we talked about this page. Let's move to this page. We must hurry a little bit. So yes, here we can see, we read this line. When did his muse from Fletcher since purloin? Look, the meaning purloin, it means this word, it means steal. Okay, so when did his muse from Fletcher since purloin, as thou whole effort dost transfuse to thine, you transfused, you used them as yours, but so transfused as oil on water's flow. His always floats above, and thine sinks below. So what John Dryden is telling here, he is telling Thomas Shadwell, see, he is telling him that you are not a good writer, and even if there is some good lines in your poem, um, Dryden is telling readers here that if you come across a sensible and good line in Mac Flecknoe's works, then know that these works, these lines are not his. He steal, he stole them. Okay, these lines are being stolen from Fletcher or from Ben Jonson, maybe. So he accuses him of plagiarism. Not just that, he continues that it's like, imagine when we put in a glass of water, we put some water and we put some, let's say, olive oil, or let it be any kind of oil, in the same cup, the same glass. So you see this oil just going to the surface, and this water is below, sinks below. So look, he is comparing these plagiarized, this purloined, these stolen lines to oil. They are oil, they are important. These lines of Fletcher, maybe Fletcher, this writer, he is a good writer. They are above, and this is, and his own lines, his own words are below, just like water. So see how biting this criticism is, and this criticism of bad writers in general by using Mac Flecknoe as their representative. If we come here, we can say a more biting criticism. Well, I won't be mentioning all, but at least this one is a little bit striking. It is important. It captured my intention, so I will be talking about it. So look guys, he is also continuing his criticism by saying that thy tragic muse gives smiles. So thy tragic muse gives smiles, thy comic sleep, with whether goal thou sets thyself to write. So when you want to write, that's Mac Flecknoe. When Mac Flecknoe starts to write, he does just the opposite purpose. If he wants to write a tragedy, when we read a tragedy, we are supposed to have these, let's say, moving and overwhelming feelings. But when we read his tragics, we smile. So it is not. It serves for the purpose of a comedy. So since he is not that person who has balance, he is has a problematic mind. His mind works for the opposite purpose. And look, he says that thy comic sleep. So comic, when you read or watch a comedy, you are supposed to be altered. You are supposed to be awake and just enjoying looking on the comedy and laughing. But here, the audience just sleep when they read or listen to the comedies of Mac Flecknoe. So, and also here he talks about his keen iambics. Well, I don't know if you mentioned that or not. Look, for example, Venom lies here, and dies, fame, anagram. So you see these iambic pentameter. He is using iambic pentameter, which means that A, B, B, C, C, D, D. So it is constructed in a very smart and reasonable way. So if Flecknoe has keen iambics, he cannot write in iambic pentameter, which means he cannot be a poet, of this age, okay, of this age. So he is advising him, leave writing place and choose for thy command some peaceful province in acrostic land, acrostic, again, acrostic, very humiliating. Let's continue here. He said, but his last words were scarcely heard, but Bruce and Longville had a trap prepared, and down they sent the yet declaiming bard, sinking the left his drugget, rub behind, borne upwards by subterranean wind. Well, this is also a very, let's say, humorous, very, how can I say, nice note. It's not nice, but it makes you laugh maybe. Scene. This scene is about we have at the end of the coronation we have this Flecknoe who is going to crown his son. He falls into this trap. You see in the stage there is some hole. From this hole they bring some tools. They bring also players. They come and go on and off stage. So Flecknoe just falls in this hole, and when he falls down, it's like he falls on his belly, and this thing that is put on this clothes that is on his shoulder flies, and it is put in on his son's shoulders, but it flies from his this wind, this air that comes out of his belly. I think you got what I mean. Okay, it means that his belly is full with air, and when he falls on the ground, it causes him to fret, let's say. So the clothes this dragget, which means clothes put on the shoulder by this person. It flies, and it is the wind brings it to the shoulder of Mac Flecknoe. That's Thomas Shadwell. So it ends like that. The mantle fell on the young prophet's part. So this mantle, this cloth, it falls on the young prophet, which is Flecknoe. Well, some say that it was thought that some bad one like Flecknoe is going to come, with double portion of his father's art. With double portion, it means, as we say, that his father is dull, so he is double portion. He is 2 times dull. We covered almost all the important lines of Mac Flecknoe. I think that's enough. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. I try to break down, to simplify the poem rather than delving into or dealing with these, how can I say, with this historical information. You can do that yourself, students. So you can look for the restoration. That's very important. The themes of the restoration, the very important elements, that's balance, reason, mind, order of Renaissance. Okay, and you can also look for mock epic and mock heroic poems. That's also important terms you have to search and know of. And you have to know about, also John Dryden. You have to know about the restoration time. Just try to know about all this information, and I hope you have good grades in the exam. I try to cover almost all the poem, and it's a very long video. Actually, it's about 50 minutes, but anyway, you can watch it if you are interested. So see you in another video. If you need anything, if you have any questions regarding this poem, please write me. I was going to write it to explain it in Arabic, but then I hesitated since it's very English. So I don't think that anyone except English literature students are interested in this topic, and English literature students are supposed to know English. That is why I explained it in English. So see you. God bless you.